that integrates walking and biking trails throughout the site and provides for better pedestrian and vehicular circulation on the site that's more efficient and more visually unobtrusive to the whole picture. We looked at clean slate concept number 2. The idea here being that we've got it all, we can work within all of the confines of the properties, including Duke Childs Fields, which I think we're losing here a little bit off the bottom. I'm not sure if we can adjust that area a little bit on the screen. But the idea on this plan was that we're using all the space, and instead of bringing the recreational facilities off of Elm Street and the spaces centrally to the site, what we've done is we've taken and created one large complex with supporting parking, with skate parking, with indoor and outdoor pool areas, tennis, hockey, offices and other support, and access to a separate golf club, all off of Willow Road. The idea being that Willow Road is the gateway to the community, here along the southern edge of this exhibit right here, that the corner that is Duke Childs Fields that floods is floodplain or pond water space, and that all of the open space amenities themselves, including the club facility, which is a separate drive, would be to the north, all the way up to the homes and all along the frontage of Hibbard Road. The only parking and circulation which would support small open playfield recreational pursuits would be a small parking area along Hibbard in front of Washburn School that would support the ball fields and the existing, or the proposed baseball, softball fields, soccer, lacrosse, and football to the north and to the south. The existing, or the proposed clubhouse would be located almost where it is today, but would have its same access coming off of a shared access at Willow Road, lined up with our service center across the street, and perhaps a secondary access at some point in time back over to Forest Way Drive. As I mentioned, those were the big picture thinking. They helped us visualize what could happen if we started from scratch, if we could build from scratch, and if we could really retool the space. Obviously, we've got to work within the realm of what's existing and what's real and what's achievable in those time frames that I set out before, 3, 5, 10, 20 years out into time. We wanted to test a range of alternative solutions at a different level of approach, a what we call min, mid, max approach, starting from baby steps, working our way up to a grand vision. We wanted to test some new uses, new ideas that could be plugged into that space. We wanted to test locations and the relationships of elements, and we wanted to solve problems, common problems that we heard throughout all the different user groups in terms of how we could fix other elements at the site. Concept A. Excuse me. Concept A, our minimal scheme was built around the idea that we're using all of our existing facilities that are out there today, our Nielsen Tennis, our area for our offices, our existing hockey area, our existing clubhouse facility. The major changes that you see in the Concept A are reconfigured fields to the north, up here, and a little bit to the south of the area that is the ice hockey area. What we've done is reconfigured the fields, we've regraded those fields, and we've obviously solved the problems of drainage as part of that process. And in solving the problem of drainage, we also have to identify areas that we put new storm capacity or new storm sewer capacity throughout the site. Those are located at a number of different venues throughout this plan. You'll see a radial kind of star-shaped configuration of the ball fields, some of which represent a larger field play area. As I mentioned, we've talked about the idea of the radial ball fields surrounding a regraded area, some of which are pony league size and some of which are just regulation softball and little league size, integrated soccer fields that are not crossing over the infield or dugout or infield areas, and one special field that you'll see in all the plans that's identified not only from a soccer, football area, but also from a baseball area. That would be a field turf or a synthetic field space that could be used throughout the duration of the rainy months and rainy seasons. The other component of this plan from a building standpoint is the idea of improved entries to the Nielsen facility, identified as the little orange area that you see in front of here, improved areas or expansion to the front of the ice arena, which would improve the lobby, entrance, and concession area, lounge area, and then a back storage area for a second Zamboni that would be off to the south east of the existing ice skating facility. So those are also parts of this plan. Again, not major changes to the plan, but major changes to some of the facilities, so ball diamonds and improvements to these facilities. One area of that we felt was an important component to consider was the idea of, while we're making improvements to the existing maintenance facility, and some of those components are going over to the landfill, that we enhance this area. We maybe perhaps create a smaller venue towards the golf course for their mower storage area at the back, still leaving that access along here with controlled access. But as you'll note on this plan, an idea has been put forth as part of this concept to bring access in as it is today off of Elm, improve the circulation and dynamics of how all cars park in front of this area, provide a drop-off lane in front of the entire length of the tennis facility, now in Nielsen, but the outdoor tennis areas. Same amount of parking in this space, but now instead of the little circular drop-off to the north, we've actually created a one-way drive with parking on the ball field side, all the way moving north, and then exiting out only at Pine Street and Hibbert. That provides more proximate parking to the ball diamond areas, provides for better circulation, so we're not having backup and stacking and loading issues with cars sitting and waiting for kids to come off the fields, but just better circulation and access. We've also improved the parking dynamics and circulation by the tennis, paddle, golf, and skating area to improve the circulation, not really enhance a lot more parking spaces, but improve the circulation, improve this drive as you come in with a separate island for the trees and one way on one side and one way out. So we've eliminated the parking that's adjacent to the existing skating facility in that area. In this plan, because of the improvements to the parking, we've added about 23 additional parking spaces to the entire system that's out there, of which there were 340. So we've added 340 on this plan. We've added 23, so it's about 317, 320 to start with on the existing site. Another change we made in order to accommodate these fields that are occurring to the north and improve that whole space up there was the idea of taking the existing skate park that was right adjacent to the Park District offices and move that behind and tucked into the grade and the changes that we'd like to see as part of that sledding hill, or that large mound that's out there right now. And the idea is to regrade some of that sledding hill area using some soils from other parts of the site, and then build into the back side of it a really nice, unique, and more exciting skate park area that has some terrain that's somewhat more secluded and hidden from a noise factor, but still proximate to all the kids' playing area. That hill would provide a nice backdrop for sitting to watch the ball game that are out here. And additionally, with regards to facilities, as we've developed this radial or pinwheel fashion of ball fields, the idea of having a concession and washroom facility centrally located out in the fields was a kind of a paramount component to putting this layout in place. We've also looked at the idea, while not a key component, that all of these areas have access through a recreational trail system, whether it's gravel or whether it's a paved surface. To get back there is really dependent upon the amount of impermeable surface or stormwater improvements that we have to make. But the idea of putting a small playground out in that space to accommodate the different age groups and provide for those spaces for mom and the kids to hang out and watch a game while a younger brother or sister really wants to hang out on the swings. It happens all the time. We saw that as a common thread through a lot of our discussions with folks, and that idea of bringing that out there and integrating it into the ball fields was a neat idea to look at. 9-hole course generally stays the same, with the improvements of revising the fifth through what used to be what we call the moral property through here, and readjusting that hole, working within the existing tree canopy, some modifications to some of the scrub and undergrowth that's there, and then opening up another full-size soccer lacrosse field that would occur immediately south of the ice skating facility. That area right now, relatively low area of space that's used kind of off and on for small pickup football games and soccer areas, but not really officially laid out as a field. It is so in this plan. All these plans, I should note, also have a passive recreational trail component that would work its way throughout the whole park. And ultimately, we saw the idea of integrating into the golf course for winter venues, but even potentially connection through the Forest Preserve at some time to connect it to our more regional recreational trail system. Again, looking at some of the details of the pinwheel area, the concession stand, and the washroom area, the playground area, and the ball field.